So welcome to episode 3 of Living a Remarkable Life, and today we're talking about finding our passions.
Yep.
No, read it.
Very good, but I have to do this right now.
No.
I never seem to be able to get a few minutes without a kid. Okay, so finding your passion also involves making sure that your kids find their passions.
Yeah.
French?
Little French. I don't speak any French.
No.
My French is bad.
Here, do you want to write something?
Okay, go watch a movie.
I'm bad Canadian. I don't know any French.
That's okay.
I like writing.
Okay, anyways, maybe one day we'll do this without interruptions.
It's okay. Life goes on.
It does. Adds a little bit of adventure in.
Yep.
So yeah, today we're talking about finding your passion, and hopefully we'll have some people join us shortly, and otherwise you can watch it on replay.
Yep.
I'm passionate about pirates, as you can
Yes,
see.
as we can see, that's very nice.
Yes. So let's just talk about a little bit about what you're passionate about, Kevin.
I guess my biggest passion would be to help other people at a high level. See, we have Amanda just joined us. Welcome, Amanda.
Hi, Amanda.
Yeah, my biggest passion that I try to do everything in my life around is helping other people improve their lives. And that's kind of, I know, a very general passion, but there's a lot you can do within that. You know, the blog that I have is the aim of inspiring others to make changes in their lives. The coaching business that I'm working on starting is focused on helping other people, you know, make the changes they want to and improve their lives. Volunteering, you know, helping friends, family, all this sort of thing, all kind of relates back to that main passion.
Right back.
Okay. But, you know, that's not my only passion. One of my other big passions is to travel. I've visited 31 countries so far.
Awesome.
In my life. Very fortunate to do that. So that's kind of a hobby passion that I have as well.
Mm-hmm. That's absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
And you're going to do amazing things going forward. If some of you who are watching don't know this, but Kevin's recently left his corporate job to pursue his own passions, which is a really scary and amazing experience at the same time. So kudos to you, Kevin. I know you're going to do absolutely awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And what about yourself?
Yeah. So my passion is entrepreneurism and helping young entrepreneurs succeed. So I'm happy to announce I just incorporated my new business.
Congrats.
And yeah, it's entrelaunchit.org, officially incorporated and all ready to go. And we should be launching programs in the next couple of weeks. And then we're taking over the world with it. We already have 4 countries lined up to go. And what we're doing is we're providing education to teens to help them become entrepreneurs and to help them find their own passions, because it's so important to include passion in what you're doing. It's if you love what you're doing, it's no longer work. It's easier. You enjoy it. You don't dread waking up on Mondays.
Or Saturday mornings, you know, I like coming here and doing this, and I don't mind getting up at, 8 o'clock to get ready and come do this.
Exactly. And when you're doing what you love, it's easier to get up in the morning.
Oh, totally.
I'm waking up on my own before my alarm now, whereas when I only did corporate work, when I hated what I was doing, I didn't get to do that.
Your alarm goes off and you hit snooze 5 times, right?
Yes, and that is not good. It's not good for you. It's not good for your alarm clock. It's just not a good thing.
Not even that good for the company you're working for if you're not, passionate about it, right?
No, it isn't. You really need to be passionate about what you're doing. And if you're out there running a business, you want to make sure all your employees are passionate about what you're doing as well. If they don't support what you're doing, support your company values, if they're creating that negative energy, it's going to affect your business. It's going to affect the other people working for you. There are millions and millions of dollars lost every year in business because of poor productivity of employees who are not engaged.
I would say billions. Billions. Yeah.
Possibly trillions.
Yeah, actually quite possibly.
It's absolutely insane. And I think engagement is well under 50% for most employees in a company.
Yeah, I think I watched a documentary and it said 70 to 80% of employees are not really engaged.
Yeah, and millennials are an even higher amount. Millennials really, really want to be engaged at work, which is not really that strange of a concept. If you're engaged, you really want to do what you're doing.
Yeah, and the best part is going to shine through.
Yeah.
So why don't we talk a little bit about the journey of finding our passions? How did you kind of discover your passion for helping entrepreneurs and specifically younger entrepreneurs?
Okay, so I actually brought some lovely worksheets.
Nice.
With us, and if anybody else wants to go to the worksheet, somewhere I have the address. Of course, I didn't print out the link, but it's at my site, RebeccaPalmer.ca, and it's Find Your Passion worksheet. You probably have to send me a message because I don't believe I have it just up and open on the site, and I don't have the link in front of me. The way I went about finding my passion is I looked at what I liked doing. I looked at what made me feel fulfilled, what made me feel happy, and what I could do to change something in the world or help support others. What it came down to, the things I love to do, the things that excited me, and the things I'm good at. So it's sort of the intersection of those three things with what will also make you money.
Yep.
So you have to do that. So I started by just making a huge list of things I love doing and things that excited me. And then I started crossing off the ones that weren't like my top choices.
Yeah.
From there, I just sort of took a break and really thought about each one. And then I looked at my list again and thought, okay, well, is there anything else? Because when I originally started trying to narrow my focus, I knew I loved entrepreneurship. I knew I loved events.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew I needed a bigger focus than just entrepreneurship or events. But I also realized, based on life experiences, that I really wanted to support teens. Being on the floor, that is an area where I saw a big need for assistance. We had kids that were going through high school and college. They didn't know what they're going to do. The job market sucks. There's 60 million youth unemployed globally, and we need to do something to change that. So that became my passion project, helping youth find ways to become entrepreneurs and help others find ways to develop those entrepreneurial skills that they'll use either in their own business or within a company. So that's really what I did, is I basically threw everything at the wall. And then evaluated each one to see what really worked the best for me and what really aligned with my own common goals. I want to help other people.
Yeah. No, I think that's a pretty good way to go about it. It was fairly similar for me. I graduated, I kind of went down the proper correct path from high school to university, and then started working. And after a few years of, working in the corporate sector, I started to feel a bit of a hollowness inside of me that, I wasn't helping people and making contributions. So taking that broad theme of a passion of helping people, I started doing similar things, looking at what I read about, looking about what I like to talk about, looking at what's interested in me. And then I just started trying things. I first thought maybe personal finance was the area I wanted to do work in. But then I got, 6 months into that and got a little jaded with it. So I kind of pivoted over to habit change and habit support, and started doing a fair bit of work to that. And that's still something I'm definitely interested in. But it was very broad. So then I, kept going down the path, went to WDS this year, and then really started to hone in on this concept of helping introverts improve their lives and get more comfortable in celebrating themselves, because that's a lot of who I am as an introvert. And I've had quite a journey down that path. So I want to use that experience to help other people. And it's kind of a nice synergy, if you will, of those areas for me. So And you know what? So far, I'm definitely liking it. It's like you say, you get up out of bed each day ready to go, and got more things to do than I have time. You know, this is my first week not working full time, but I was just as busy as if I was going to the office every day. So, but it's good. It's much more something I'm much more engaged in and enjoying to do.
That's absolutely awesome. I'm just sort of keeping my mic muted a little bit because I've got an angry child in the background.
So I guess, you know, something else I think we can maybe talk about is a little bit further about this whole process of finding your passion, and just how some people, when you talk to them about finding their passion, they think, oh, I got to find that thing right now. And not do anything until I figure out what that passion is. And I don't know if you agree, but I think that experimentation and just taking some action and starting is far better than sitting at, you know, your desk for weeks and months on end, just painstakingly trying to figure out what that passion is, because I really don't think you find it until you start doing.
No, you do. You have to start doing it, and where you think your passions lie may not actually be where it is. So you have to, just with anything that you're doing, you have to try little steps. You have to test what you're doing, and think about the root of what you're doing it. Something that I think our listeners should really look at is reading Start With Why with Simon Sinek.
Yeah.
He talks all about getting to your why you're doing anything really in life, why you're running your business, why you're attending the events you're doing, why you're doing the things you're doing. Like you and I are doing this blab here because we want to share what we're going through, what we're thinking about, and how we're living our lives trying to make change happen. So that's why we're doing that. And it's just absolutely great to get down to that why. And his book breaks it up so well.
Yep. And it's a great book, just like you say, Start With Why. And it seems like such a simple concept. Like, why do we do anything? And, you know, you look at kids when they're in their early development years, that's one of the most common words out of their mouth is why. But then we get to this grown-up stage, and it seems like we lose that curiosity and questioning of why am I doing this? Why, you know, why do I want to do what I'm doing? And yeah, Simon, you know, even if you just want to start with watching I think he's got a TED Talk or TEDx talk on Start With Why. I'll go find the link here and I'll paste it in the comments. But yeah, it's fantastic book. Yeah,
he's also got some worksheets as well, except I can't search the right thing. And, you know, anybody out there who is thinking, okay, I have kids and I can't do this and I can't find my passion and I can't make it through the day without my kids fighting. No, you can still do it. I'm here doing this. I do have a very, very cranky kid right now who I have worked with before this started, but you can't always control everything.
No.
And you can't let it start you from or stop you from doing what you're passionate about.
No.
Because you can just sit back and let life crush you down. Are you getting feedback?
Just a little bit.
Okay, because I'm hearing a lot of feedback. Not sure why there. So anyways, don't let your circumstances or your current point in life stop you from doing what you think you should do or want to do. Because you can do it. Think about where you're wasting your time. How are you wasting time? Are you watching TV 5 nights a week? How many hours can you regain from that? Are you engaging in conversations that are negative, gossipy, things that bring you down and keep you on the level? Or are you meeting and engaging with people who actually elevate you up and help you work towards your passions?
Yeah, and I think that the time point is a very important one. You know, yes, especially if you have a family, you probably don't have that much free time. But even if it's just half an hour a day of, you know, writing and journaling and reading and talking to people online, maybe going to an occasional meetup. Meetup.com is another great site to meet people interested in similar things that you might be interested in. But yeah, taking half an hour a day for a year, that's 180 hours or so that you've worked on your passion, and that's basically a whole week of 24-hour days working on your passion. So it can add up quite quickly, and just don't be afraid to start, and just start taking little actions, because if you don't ever take any action, then nothing's going to change.
That's true. And if your goal is to travel to India and help people there, start learning a new language.
Yeah.
Start researching how to get there. So it could be as simple as searching for a flight to India.
Yeah.
Or looking at a map. That's still a step forward towards your goal.
Yeah, and even if it's not going to happen for 5 years, still just start planning, start working, start building up that momentum and that inertia, and and then it'll kind of become self-sustaining oftentimes, I find.
Mm-hmm, for sure. And now going back to, I'm hearing a lot of feedback. Are you still getting a lot?
It's a little echoey when you talk, it seems.
That's what I'm hearing. Okay, let me see. Can I? Am I still echoing?
No, that's better.
Okay. Okay, so going back to finding your passion, because that is the subject of our talk.
Yeah.
If you think my passion, I have to decide it tomorrow, and now I'm echoing again.
Yeah.
It can be a long process, and it may change.
Yep.
So don't be afraid to go with the journey and just see where it leads.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's a journey. It's not going to be perfect. Like I said, it's not going to be tomorrow that you start this journey and all of a sudden you find your passion. Maybe 1 in a million people might, but I sure didn't. I've been on a journey for 3 years almost now, and it's still evolving, I think. Over this next year, as I move full time into working on building a business around my passion, I'm sure it'll change further and evolve. And even once I do, life change is constant in life, so it's gonna evolve, and don't be afraid of that. That's just that's the way I think it is.
Exactly. And the one other thing to remember is that you might not know what it is that you're going to be passionate about in the future, because you may not have been exposed to it yet.
That's very true.
So, as you go through life, you're going to experience more things. A lot of people develop their passion because of a pain point. So it could be a death experience. It could be any type of experience. It could all of a sudden change their focus. Some people become passionate about cancer research or other causes because either themselves or someone they love have suffered.
Yep.
You might become passionate about helping with clean water because you have traveled overseas and actually experienced it firsthand and saw what is happening to people.
Yep.
We're not exposed as a first world nation to
a lot of the problems
in other countries, Syria, South Africa, things like that. We are so removed from it. We don't even think about what is going on in other countries or how fortunate we are. We're wrapped up in our first world problems in the lineup at Tim Hortons or like that, so that we forget that there's bigger issues out there.
That's right. Yeah, that's definitely correct. And the other thing is, it could be something that hasn't been invented yet. I mean, look at right now, there's people who are passionate about social media, and that was not something that existed 10 years ago. So, it's certainly a journey. I think that's really one of the most important points for people to take away is it's a journey. It's not an instant destination.
Yes, and even jobs in general. I think it's something like 70% of the jobs of the future have not been created yet.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's pretty amazing. How can you take something in school for something that doesn't even exist yet?
That's right. It's a very good question. So who knows what the future holds.
Exactly. Well, what do you think? Should we cut this short at about 11:30 today?
Sure. Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah. Oh, hi, Melissa. Oh, and Antonio, maybe we're going to suddenly have a bunch of people join in.
Yeah, that's we can keep on going.
Yes, we will keep going, and I know we have lots to say. It seems today we're a little bit off our game, but you know what? That's okay. And anybody looking to find their passions, you're going to have those days where it's like, oh, I'm not quite.
And one thing I did want to talk a little bit about related to this is, you know, also to get out in the real world and not just hang out online, you know, reading blogs and communities and whatnot, because it's great. The internet's a powerful thing and these tools we have are amazing, but I think it's really important to get out into the real world, try and meet other people who are maybe doing what you're thinking of getting involved in, ask them about their struggles, see and, you know, touch and do it with them, go to meetup communities, maybe volunteer, you know, volunteering is a great way to get involved and start getting some experience in a new field. Like maybe you want to, you know, get into agriculture and you go join a local community garden to get some experience, right? You know, volunteering and interacting with the community in the real world, I think, is really important.
Oh, for sure. And you don't know what you don't like until you try it too, because you may think, oh, well, I really want to work with this segment of the market, or I want to teach people, or I want to speak. And until you start trying it, you won't know if you like it or not. It might turn out, well, yeah, I thought that was a good idea, but maybe I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
So you really have to try, and it really is a little bit of a test to see what you like doing and what you don't like doing.
Yep.
Okay, so that's a question for Lazy about theme and topic of this meetup groups. I did have a meetup group myself. We actually met about entrepreneurship in our Barrie community. So, but we also know ones that one of the big ones in town is a social group.
Yeah.
Where that social group runs everything from tango classes to euchre nights. And it's a great way to meet other people and just find out what they're doing too.
Yeah, and that's a good point. You know, just even if it's just a general social type meetup. I just started a group here. We had our first meetup this past week and 16 people came, and just the serendipitous connections that can happen between people when you get a bunch of people in the room, you talk about what you're interested in, what you're doing, and then these connections start happening and people are like, oh, that sounds really cool. And, you know, who knows, you could get inspired by somebody you meet at an event like that. And start, you know, that could be the tipping point to you finding that area that you're really passionate about.
Yep. So what was it? Wednesday. On Wednesday, I went to an event and Tony Robbins was actually at the end of it. And some of the earlier speakers we didn't enjoy quite as much, but the key to any event is maximizing the event. So even if you go to an event and you have a speaker that's not as good or isn't interesting you because you already have heard the information or they're monotone or whatever the reason is, go have a conversation with people in the hallway.
Yep.
I had some awesome conversations with people in the hallway talking about everything from international adoption to launching businesses to where we should go and try and find food.
Yep.
So sometimes the best place to find those conversations are in the hall or where you don't expect.
Yeah.
I once had a conversation about entrepreneurship on the middle of a TTC bus with a random person. Ended up we were interested in the same things. And crowded bus.
You just never know. Like that's a great point too. I remember I flew to Winnipeg a few months ago and the guy sitting beside me, you know, we were both really passionate about what changes we'd like to see and improvements in the developing world, and we, you know, talked about that for an hour and a half, and it felt like the shortest flight I've ever been on. But you just never know, and interacting with people and talking to people can be a great way to continue building that passion and get inspired.
It also helps you possibly find new avenues to think about as well, because when you start hearing people at events or talking to people in person, they may say something that all of a sudden sort of triggers your brain and says, hey, I should think about that. For me, it was a conversation at an event in Huntsville, Ontario, where somebody mentioned cargo containers and hydroponic farming.
Mm.
And since then, I've been addicted to cargo containers.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't officially done anything with it.
Yeah.
I did use that passion for cargo containers and farming.
Yeah.
Farming, something I'm not very good at, but I combined that passion and put it into a third place finish at a startup weekend.
Cool.
Startup weekends are another amazing way for people to work on finding something they're passionate about, because if you haven't been, one, sign up, because what you do is you go and some people will have an idea, or maybe you'll spontaneously have an idea, and you pitch it to this group of people, and then you have people who join your team, and then you spend the next 54 hours basically working up a viable business model and just going as far as you can. And it's really interesting because it's very intense thinking.
Yeah, no kidding.
If you're passionate about it, the energy comes across and you get so much done, and it could lead you in a direction you never ever thought you were going.
Yep.
Anyways, back to my weird story about cargo containers. Someone had mentioned that. I did that. Since then, I've also spoken on cargo containers as alternatives for affordable housing.
Yeah.
Love finding pictures of repurposed cargo containers.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It also makes me think, what other alternatives do we have out there? What can we use to solve issues around the world? What is already in our backyard?
Yep.
We can say, okay, well, let's repurpose this for something else. So repurposing of objects is something that is another passion of mine. How can we repurpose things to solve issues?
Yeah, and I think, down that path, just having an open mind and being open to new experiences and not being closed off is also really important when you're trying to find your passion, because if you go in there narrow-minded and thinking, I really want it to be about this, it might not work that well. Being accepting of new ideas and new people that might just come into your life, the universe sends your way, I think is really important to help finding your passion as well.
Perfect. So tell me a little bit about how you found your passion that you're working on right now.
Well, it was, like I said, I kind of had the overall desire to help people. And then just, pardon me?
Was there a pivotal moment that really sort of changed your thoughts or made you say, okay, let's go for it?
I can't really think of one pivotal moment. I think it was over, a span of time as I just started to step out of the fog of going to work every day and just week, and just starting to actually do a lot more reflecting and thinking, and thought, realizing how fortunate I am to be living where I do in the situation that I'm in, and how much I'd been taking that for granted, and then looking around the world and seeing, how the challenges that so many people face, and wanting to really help people in some way that I can, instead of just helping, extremely wealthy individuals who own big companies get even richer. Why not use my skills and talents to help other people, make tangible improvements in their lives? And then the specific, passion around helping introverts, just really, it was at the World Domination Summit this year when I was there, and struggling a little bit with my introverted nature there, but kind of having a realization that it's okay to be an introvert. I've been quite successful, and I got to stop beating myself up about it, because I think a lot of introverts, especially in North America, feel that, oh, you've got to get more extroverted because that's the ideal of the person you want to be. You want to be super outgoing and super funny and all this sort of thing. But no, you don't have to be like that. You can be exactly who you are, and that is totally okay. And I kind of finally accepted that, and I really want to help other people get to that point too, because since I have had that experience, I'm just a lot less stressed and feeling much better about myself, and I want to help other people get there too.
That is absolutely awesome. I know I've talked to a few people who have told me about their experiences as introverts, even at WDS being such a huge event.
Yeah.
And it's not always that they don't want to be talking to people. They enjoy talking to people, but it can drain your energy. If you're an introvert in nature and you're surrounded by a whole bunch of extroverts, that energy exchange can really leave you drained.
Yeah.
There's power drainers and there's people who increase your energy, and it's different for everyone. So
that's right.
Good to realize that in yourself and know when you need to say, okay, I need a break.
Yep.
And it's perfectly acceptable to feel that way. Some people will go to an event and they'll feel very empowered and engaged, but then they need to decompress for a couple days. Other people, they can just keep going and going and going, and they just absolutely feed off the energy and the engagement and stuff like that, and they can just keep going forever. So definitely different types of people. No, and some people, go to events like that, and that's how they get their energy. They need to be around people and on the go, and that's totally okay. But the important thing is just, learn to be okay with who you are and play to your strengths. Don't beat yourself up about things that might be weaknesses. Play to your strengths and you can do amazing things. So that's what I want to help people with, because I think sometimes too, our culture focuses on, you got to improve this, you got to improve that. Personal development improvement is good, but if you have some strengths, use them. Yeah. So now Lazy has made a comment here. She's found her passion. She's happy about it. She used to be shy, and now she's speaking in public.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So that brings us up to the whole thought around the need to get out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Which is really one of the keys to finding your passion. You have to be willing to step into the unknown and to take a step forward.
Yep.
So face your fears, do the things that make you uncomfortable, and just put yourself out there.
Yep.
For many people, they're afraid of going into a large crowd or speaking in public. But the more you do that, the easier it gets. I used to be absolutely afraid to go into a huge crowd of people, and now I constantly put myself into that situation by myself, like not going with a friend. And it's amazing how much it's changed in the last 5 years from me being very afraid to go into a crowd of 30 people where I knew people to now going into crowds of 3,000 people halfway around the world. So
stepping out of your comfort zone and getting okay with that is definitely huge.
And even speaking, I used to be very uncomfortable speaking, and now I've spoke a few times, and it does get easier each time. I still have, as I think many people do, those judgment feelings afterwards. Okay, did I sound okay? Did I sound stupid? I'm not thinking clearly today. And even during this podcast, I'm like, I'm not really doing this well today.
but it's for you and me, it's practice, right? And it's taking action, even if it's not perfect action, and building your skills up.
Yeah, and that is the key. You have to take your action, and you have to keep moving forward and facing your fear. And that's all we can do as individuals. We have to just keep making actions happen. They're not going to be perfect.
No.
Being imperfect is absolutely fine. And accept yourself, accept your limitations, challenge your limitations, and face your fears.
Yep. Yeah, I think that sums it up pretty good. So,
what else do we talk about? Finding your passion.
I've had some notes before, but we've pretty much touched on all of them, I think.
I know. Now, one of the interesting things that I've been learning the last couple of days, and that might be something interesting to talk about, I'm taking another social entrepreneurship course, and we're talking about mind mapping, which is also another useful tool when you're trying to figure out what you're passionate about or what you should do, or even how to build a new business. So you start by looking at one central theme or pain point, something that bugs you or central idea. And then from there, you start building your mind map. So you have your next, after that central idea, you have a circle around it with maybe 4 to 5 key points related to it. So if it was poverty, maybe you have lack of employment, you have food issues, I don't know, whatever. I'm not doing a mind map for it, so that's not what I have. But anyways, you do that, and then you do another row around it. So sort of like a solar system almost, and you just keep building, and then you start seeing connections that this is connected to that, and you can start drawing conclusions. So that's a really good way to also help map out your passions, because you can look at what you love to do and how it sort of connects.
Yeah.
When I did an informal one a few months ago when I was trying to figure out what the heck I do next, back in January, when I suddenly found myself out of my corporate job again, and faced with the future of being a full-time entrepreneur making my own money, which was absolutely wonderful, but scary when you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, no kidding.
So going through the process of what I wanted to do, one of the keys I found to my why is conversation. Conversation was sort of my central theme, conversation and connecting people. And entrepreneurism was another key part of it. So with everything I'm doing, I'm basically having conversations. So whether it's educating youth for new ideas or talking to people at events or doing things like this, it really is. It's about the conversation, the sharing of information.
Yeah, and experiences, right?
Yeah. So if you can break it down to sort of that key idea that really is something that works well for you, something that you're really excited about, then it really works. And then build whatever you're doing around it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think you're bang on. So, yeah, I don't know if you want to, wrap it up maybe?
Yeah, well, let's wrap it up today, and then we'll figure out what we're going to talk about next week.
Yep.
If anybody has any suggestions, please message us. Our Twitter handles are up on the screen, so at Rebecca Palmer or at Kevin B. Langman.
Yep.
And you can find us on Twitter, send us a topic idea, and then we'll chat about it. And we would love to have pictures. We would love to have questions from anybody who's watching our recasts.
Yeah. Or participants too.
Yeah, participants are good too.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, well, we'll wrap this up. It'll be up on our blogs later today, and everyone have a good day.
Yeah,
See you
enjoy your weekend. See ya.
Yes. Oh, and
enjoy Pirate Day.
Like a pirate day.
Arr.
Okay. Talk to you later.